If you want to build a self-managing business, you need to learn how to hire A players. And that's what this video is all about. I'm going to give you some principles and then also some steps on actually how to design the perfect process for your business so that you can hire A players, because that's basically the difference between talent and trouble, to get the A players onto your team. And if you really are, and that's what this channel is all about, building and designing a self-managing business where you as the business owner can work on the business rather than in the business, it does not work without the right people. So in business, nothing will multiply your headaches faster than hiring the wrong person. And we've all been there. And trust me, this comes out of experience. I have hired some idiots in my life and I'm the only one to blame. So the same is true on the other side, that nothing will multiply your freedom faster than hiring the right ones. If you want to really build a self-managing business, experience the freedom, but also the foundation to actually scale your business, the right people are the key to make this happen. The right people and the right systems and playbooks, they have to basically come together. Now, today we're going to talk about hiring A players. Not just on paper, and by the way, this doesn't come out of theory, but this comes out of experience, because basically I have made every mistake on the book, and I also know that when you get the right person on the team, it makes all the difference in the world. So let's talk about some principles, and like always, you can get access to this document if you stick around, or there's a link somewhere below. Let's talk about part 1, hiring principles, kind of the foundation, and then I'm actually going to give you a structure, step-by-step structure that you can use and implement for your own hiring process. Okay, the first principle: hire slow, fire fast. Okay, most business owners only start hiring when the pain becomes unbearable. Okay, basically we realize we need somebody, and then basically when they ask when you know what would be the starting point of that new hire, it would be yesterday, because we wait for a long time basically to actually hire. And the idea is that you hire slow. You know, basically speed creates shortcuts, and shortcuts compound into weeds. Now you think, I just need someone who starts on Monday. In the end, basically you end up with whoever is available at this point in this role, and normally these are C players that sneak in because you just want to kind of not take people through a process. You actually take them through just wanting to solve your problem. It feels painful. You need to fill this position. And so you hire fast rather than hiring slow. Basically, you also need to fire fast. So hire slow, fire fast. Now, we're not going to talk in this video a lot about firing, but there's actually some grace to firing people in the right way, and often firing them faster rather than slower is a key to it. That normally in your gut you already know if you have to let go of somebody, but you drag on too long, and it's not helping the business, and it's not helping the person. And by the way, the A players that you have, if they see that you as a business owner are tolerating C players or D players, people who are kind of making the whole team slower, that is number one reason for them to actually say, you know what, if you can't handle that as a leader, I am looking for a leader who actually can. So take time up front to design basically the role of who you want, so that you can really build the right pipeline before you need it. Okay, you want to be basically hiring in a slow fashion so you can take people step by step through the process. And I'll show you the process here in a second. The second principle is test before you trust. Resumes are polished. People have trained to be on interviews. Basically, they can rehearse that. Now, what they can't rehearse is real life. And so whenever you can actually hire somebody as a consultant first, to give them a small job, even if you are creating that job out of basically out of nothing, even if you don't need it, and you should be paying them actually for that test phase as well, so that they really kind of know you are serious about it. Because if you lose a few €100 or a few thousand, it's nothing compared to hiring the wrong person. So you want to basically give them something like a test so that you can see how they are doing in the actual job. Give them a project, run a 2-week or 2-month trial, see how they handle deadlines, feedback, ambiguity, how do they communicate. It tells you a lot of how they communicate. So in testing, you discover the truth. Principle number 3, use AI to level the playing field. And what I mean with that is basically as small, medium-sized companies, we did not in the past have the opportunity to hire like the big firms, the big companies who spend hundreds of thousands of euros, up to millions, in order to get the right people as their candidates for a particular job. Now you with AI can actually write perfect job descriptions. You can filter for culture and ownership. You can design application forms that ask the right questions for the right person. So you put on who do you really want, and then basically when the resume comes, you can actually put the resume into AI and let AI kind of say, okay, what would be 5 strengths that this candidate would bring to the table, and what are 5 strengths or weaknesses that this candidate would bring to the table. And then you basically can look at this whole thing and really put in the transcript of the interview that you have and ask, is this the right fit? What would be good follow-up questions for this person? And it's basically you can have a superpower help you in your interviewing process. So that's number 2. Principle number 4, always be hiring, not just when you need it. Okay, the worst time to hire is when you are desperate, because when you're desperate, you're making mistakes. And I've done all of these mistakes. I've been desperate and I've hired out of necessity rather than out of a process. So always be hiring. Build relationships with potential candidates before you need them. Always have an open, filled pipeline, so to speak. Number 5, leaders attract leaders. Okay, there's a law of leadership. I originally learned it from John Maxwell that says if you're a leader from a 1 to a 10, and let's say you are a 5 as a leader, you will only attract 4s, 3s, 2s, 1 and 0s to your company, because real leaders are not following leaders that are below them. And so if you can basically grow and develop as a leader and become a 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 even, you will actually attract higher potential people to your organization. Okay, that's why you want to become better. Number 6, become interesting. Okay, top talent doesn't want to join boring companies, even if they pay well. They want to join movements, visions, and missions that matter. So even if your company, what you do is boring, think of ways of how can you, through your bigger vision and your bigger mission, can make it more interesting. Or how you as the founder and the CEO and the business owner can really make yourself interesting enough that people want to be around you. In your community, you have kind of built a personal brand, and that makes things interesting. Now, number 7, define the role clearly. It's so interesting that we need somebody, but we actually are not taking the time to really define the role that we need, and the responsibilities and the KPIs and what we really want from that candidate. Now, sometimes we think we do a service being vague, but leaders actually rise up to the occasion when they know what really is expected. What is a win in this organization? What is a win in this role, in this business? So make sure that your expectations are right. Are you looking for a leader? Are you looking for a manager? Are you looking for an operator? You basically have to decide, and not just, I just want somebody who takes care of the problem. Yes, I understand that, but you need to really go through defining the role. Principle number 8, okay, consider AI before hiring. We are at a point in this world, depending on your industry, that you might not need to hire anybody more to your team, because your team needs to learn how to use AI in order to buy back their time, in order to become efficient, because AI will not take your place. A person using AI will take the place of many. So become that person basically who uses AI, and if you hire, make sure that you hire for somebody who really takes AI in a serious matter and says, okay, even my role and my job is to kind of get out of the job and let AI help me to become faster, more efficient, and more powerful in my role. So really think through, do you need this person right now? And if yes, how can AI support that? And how can you hire for somebody who is really open to learning everything they need to learn about AI to make sure that they are are going to be the right fit. Principle number 9, compete for talent like you are competing for customers. Now, in some industries, I understand that basically you are out there for hiring. Your biggest bottleneck are good people that you get for your team and for your business. Now, so it's very clear, and you have to understand that you should be basically selling your job. You should be selling kind of the opportunity to work for you. Don't think they are doing you a favor, but turn it around and realize that basically that you should be selling that job. The same focus you put in basically getting customers, taking them through a funnel. You basically, if you imagine a funnel, you at the top, you want to get some leads in, then you basically want to have some qualifiers, and in the end, you have somebody who buys. And the same kind of funnel is true when it comes to really setting up how to get talent into your business. You want to have a wide net of people coming in, and then through a process, kind of getting the right people. So don't think that just because you offer a job, somebody should take it. You have to think like you are selling a product. How can you sell your business, the job that somebody does for you, in the most effective way? I teach the 10x revenue framework in our coaching programs, and it goes to the stages of searching for somebody, for the right candidate or the right customer. In this case, it's really the revenue that we have in mind. Then you flirt with that person. You want to lead them to an outcome where they actually buy, and then you want to multiply basically what they are spending with you through referrals or through increasing their lifetime value. And you should do the same thing with the potential of having people join basically your company. So you want to make sure that you have strategies where we are searching for the right people, where you are flirting with them so that they actually join your company, where you lead them through a process where you basically win, and where even you multiply because they have a network and people in the future will actually join your company through their network. So you want to go through that. And then the last principle is give them a great start. Great hiring does not stop when you sign the contract. It actually stops when you onboard them. The first 90 days are so crucial. You want to onboard them in the best, most effective way. And it also, when you have an onboarding system, an onboarding playbook, it basically also frees you up to always be in the mindset of hiring, because you're not afraid of what do I do actually when I sign up, that they create much more work. I need to onboard them now. It's too much work. So you want to make sure that you give them a great start. So these were 10 principles, and again, you can read through them again. There are also some reflection questions. Now, when you get this document, there are basically 2 links to it. Number 1 is the hiring process timeline, and number 2 is kind of the hiring sourcing channels that you can click and you can actually view. So you actually get a good timeline, because that's kind of what you want to implement into your business. So the timeline is you really want to first get the job description correct, responsibilities, requirement, success metrics. Number 2, really ask the question, where do you find talent? Where do you find them? And for that, this sourcing channel effectiveness mind map will really help you, because here I show you the 6 ways on how you actually get people to join your company. And all of them have a downside and an upside. So sometimes you get more leads, but they're less qualified. And sometimes you get less leads, but they're more qualified. So it really depends on the job. But look at this, because they kind of really look at the effectiveness and the different sources where you actually can find your people. So that's kind of step number 2, is really always finding people. Then you really want to make sure that you sell the job through the application process. Even that you, for example, I ask for a video to kind of be submitted for the application. Here, it's the top of the funnel, so you want a lot of leads. And basically then the hiring funnel here starts. So you want to make sure that this page where they can apply looks really like a sales page, like you would want to sell a product. In this case, it's just selling your the job you're offering right now. Then there's the hiring funnel, where you take people through certain steps that you outline. Could be a simple Trello board or whatever project management tool you need with different columns. And basically, if somebody has the application, their name is added with the application, all of the information. And then you kind of review them, and then you move them over here, you move them over here, you move them over here. And this is basically how the funnel, you get less and less people over here onto the right side. as you're moving. And you can also, by the way, once you have this kind of as a system, you can see what can AI help you, what kind of prompts you want to kind of use for each of these different stages. But that's how you basically then take them through. So one of the stages would be the initial interview. Then you basically normally have a skill test. You have a second interview, a third interview, depending on the role. You could have 10 interviews in person, on Zoom, with different team members. By the way, I'm a big believer also to have your team kind of join in on these interviews and kind of ask how they are seeing these videos. Then you have the offer that you are giving, and then you have and then you basically have the onboarding. So that's kind of the process that you want to kind of walk through. So in closing, hiring A players is not about luck, okay? It's not about luck. It's about leadership. You have to design basically the process for clarity. And get this wrong and you are trapped using C player hell. And you only, in a lot of businesses, if you really want a self-managing business, you need a handful of good people. And right in the beginning, it's so important that you're actually getting the right people for you to actually build the foundation, the culture. Get this right, and you're unlocking the essence of a self-managing business. Now, below this video, find a link to this document, this PDF. I go through some reflection questions. I show you kind of the timeline and the process, and that will be a great help basically for you to actually have a blueprint that you can implement in your business right away. And I'll see you in the next video.